Carlos McBride. He's a professor at Hampshire College. Last semester, he taught Remy and Nara. Carlos also hosts a radio show with Harmony. Harmony, Remy, and Nara are in a UMass class with these guys. The professor is Nick McBride, Carlos's dad. Nick is married to Judy. Judy used to work in DC. Nick used to mentor Audie Cornish, who works at NPR. Nick also used to mentor Brian Duffy, who now works at the High School of Commerce. These are some of his students. They are mentored by these guys. Stephen and Brian are also mentored by Nick. They all went to DC.
Couldn't sleep. Yeah, I was up all night. I was so excited about this trip. We got to the Amtrak station with all the UMass students, and everybody from Commerce started showing up. We all got on the train.
Platform 3.
Just taking attendance, okay? Ben.
Yup. I'm first.
Nathaniel. Thank you. Elijah.
Most of us slept on the way here for a little bit, some more than others.
This is style. Yeah, you imagine being on a bus for 8 hours coming and going in 3 days. It's the mecca for journalists. And anybody who wants to work in the business wants to work in Washington. Seat of government. The only job enshrined in the Constitution is journalism.
A group of students from the High School of Commerce, Hampshire College, and the University of Massachusetts took a trip to Washington, D.C. For the High School of Commerce, it was the first trip of its kind. In 2008, UMass journalism professor Nick McBride started sending college mentors into Springfield's High School of Commerce. After 5 years of hard work, McBride decided to take the commerce students to the nation's capital. In December, his students started raising money.
Actually got a lot of things accomplished, and we're actually going to Washington at the end of this month. So anything that you guys could do to help us out would really be appreciated.
By April, they had raised enough to take the commerce students to Washington, free of charge.
Washington has a lot of history, and it's really interesting being here. It's sort of overwhelming sometimes when you go to places like the White House and the Capitol. But
To your left is the Native American Museum, dedicated in September of 2004.
On the left is the Senate. 100 senators in Congress, 2 from every state in the union. Come in closer and let those people by, okay? All right.
This is the 20th President of the United States, James Garfield. James Garfield Memorial. The only embassy on Pennsylvania Avenue is the Canadian Embassy. That's because our embassy is across the street from Parliament. So we afford them a spot as close to the White House as possible.
I'm really thankful. It's my first time in D.C. and thank you, Mr. Duffy, and everybody who did this trip.
I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was today, and I think that was the best part. I didn't expect to enjoy myself as much as I did today.
You guys make me look forward to college. I hope that I can do the same thing you guys did. Well, probably not going to be able to do the same thing because, this was a lot, but I hope that I can have, the same impact that you guys had on us. So just thank you.
Together we are family and a celebration is in order. Hey, I got the food, I got the tools, I got the perfect spot. Some vibes, definitely. Spring fever's taking over the rate. College kids snooze buttons have an option to wait. Kick freight trains they say from TMS, CTA, battle walls, DEFCON 5 less. Still casual kids kaleidoscope fun. Can't get up in the streets, be banged from everyone. Sounds like Chicago to me. Hell's barbecue, fries and coleslaw, please. Take the yellow line of north to visit Heads and Skokie. Red line back, watch out for GGs. Together we are family and A celebration is in order. Hey, I got the food, I got the tunes, I got the perfect spot. Some vibes, definitely.
After a long day in the city, the 40 of us took the metro to a townhouse in Alexandria, where Remy's Aunt Kathy cooked dinner for all of us.
The first thing that jumped into my head was my mom, Jean Broquet. One time she just spontaneously invited this boys' soccer team to our house for dinner. You know, it just seemed like the thing to do. I thought, well, you know, and then after that I started trying to figure out how I was going to feed all those people. Washington is just all about all those stories. How many stories there are, and how much alive they all still are. Even the founding fathers, and you know, stuff that happened 300 years ago. You're just surrounded with it here, and you can't help but absorb it.
You always see things on TV, but you don't actually believe. Even if you see it on TV, you can't contemplate it unless you're there. We had like a science class, and you can actually go to like a river and find these fish you talk about. It'd be so sick. I didn't know what NPR was, but when I learned what it was, I thought it was pretty cool that we were there. The people there are nice. Audie's great. I'm getting excited just talking about it. I know that a lot of people don't get to see the inside of that building, and I did. It opened up my eyes to thinking about new things. The Capitol building, there's so much like art and there's so much there. Like, it's like I like history and I like art. When I went there, it was like everything that was artistic about it, down to like the stairs, had some history in it. If I can learn like that with everything, I would.
I remember Mr. Duffy, he would always tell me for interviews, go in the cafeteria, go talk to some kid, go talk to some teacher, I'll give you a pass. I'm like, no, like, come with me, send somebody with me. On this trip, I feel like I really did it on my own. Like, I got my interviews, I talked to people, you know, even with Ashley right before we left to get her interview for her because she was a little nervous. So I feel like, you know, you can't be afraid. If you want to get your interviews, if you want to write the best story, you have to go and you have to interview them and you have to put yourself out there.
This trip, all in all, kind of reminded me why journalism is so important to me and why I chose to study within the field and eventually make it a profession. It just really reminded me of what I want to do within journalism. And then the work that I'm doing with you guys, also just like what we're doing collectively as a group, and it all kind of just put journalism in perspective for me and kind of just lit the fire under my butt to pursue things that I kind of haven't been doing, or I kind of lost lost sight of what it is I want to do within journalism. And this trip has definitely inspired me to use journalism as a way to give voice to the voiceless, and yeah, so that's what it was all for me.
It's a fun way to become literate, and it's the way I learned how to write. Simple declarative sentences and critical analysis of issues and events and people in the world. No English teacher could really get me to comprehend through diagrammic sentences why I was writing run-ons and fragments. But once I got the new style, active verb, subject, verb, object, declarative sentences, then it became clear. You all, as older students in relationship to the younger students, are examples. They're watching you and they're watching what you do, and you're trying to convey a message of seriousness around study. The embrace of study is something that's essential, and of course a lot of them are not persuaded of that yet. You don't know how you're impacting people, but you're impacting people all the time, every moment.